Yes, we're aware of the explosion. We heard that it was a plane down. Can you confirm?
Plane down, 14th Street Bridge area.
We have a report of a plane crash somewhere in the area of the Pentagon. We're trying to get further.
The terrorism attacks at the Pentagon changed everything within the first responder community. Success was possible on 9/11 because members from fire, EMS, hazmat, law enforcement, public health, emergency management, and hospitals from just about every Northern Virginia city and county came together and responded as one. Today, within our jurisdictions, daily response calls don't involve other disciplines in the first responder community very often. Even mutual aid calls across jurisdictional boundaries don't always demand massive integration of multiple disciplines. But in contrast, a major mass casualty incident will be different if the region is impacted by another terrorist event like 9/11, a major natural disaster such as Hurricane Katrina, or a modern-day variation of the 1918 pandemic flu. Because a major mass casualty event will push the entire first responder community to rely on each other in ways far more than we can currently imagine, a Regional Emergency Response Steering Committee was formed in 2005 to prepare for the unexpected. Town and city managers and county executives formed this Emergency Response Steering Committee to strengthen relationships and to examine various needs on behalf of the entire region. The committee is multi-jurisdictional and multidisciplinary. It includes representatives from law enforcement, fire and EMS, public health, emergency management, public information, and hospitals. It is important to note that hospitals have been full and equal partners from day one. The goals of the Emergency Response Steering Committee are to improve the operational capability of the Northern Virginia Emergency Response System and to ensure that members of the first responder community are confident of the emergency response system's ability to perform. The steering committee works cooperatively to leverage funding from many different federal programs, such as the Cities Readiness Initiative, CRI, Urban Area Security Initiative, UASI, and Metropolitan Medical Response System, MMRS, as well as investing local tax dollars in order to achieve a greater operational capability in the region. This presentation is for all of Northern Virginia's first responders, because the plain truth is that in a large-scale incident, the entire community must respond as one.
As CAOs, our responsibility is to make sure that our first-line responders, such as firefighters, police officers, health employees, have the resources and the coordination and plans in place so that they can do an effective job in responding to crises. Statutorily, the chief administrative officers are the directors of emergency management. And for the last decade, since 9/11, we have been working very hard to make sure that our first responders have the resources and the training needed to be able to respond effectively to any emergency or incident that may happen within our jurisdictions or could happen on a regional basis. The investment that we're making today and have made will not stop. This is a long-term investment being made by individuals, by organizations, by jurisdictions, by the region to ensure the safety of our community, and your individual effort is very much appreciated.
For some time now, we in Northern Virginia have enjoyed great relationships among the jurisdictions. For over 35 years, the fire departments have shared resources across jurisdictional boundaries in order to better serve the citizens of Northern Virginia. Those relationships have evolved over time to the point where now we actually develop operating procedures together. Our police chiefs and public health officials have also worked together over many years to develop relationships that can result in better service to the citizens of Northern Virginia. A few years ago, we had an opportunity to take these relationships and go beyond the disciplines within which they normally worked. With money that came through a program called the Metropolitan Medical Response System, the Chief Administrative Officers of Northern Virginia sanctioned a group to look at the entire region's response system. And working through the process of MMRS, we developed plans to deal with large-scale crisis, whether they be explosive, chemical, biological, or other kinds of threats that might face our citizens and our communities. This regional, cross-disciplinary effort focused on how we could build a better response system. But it didn't just look at operating equipment and procedures and training. It also looked at how you, the responder, need to be better prepared so that we can count on you to be there when our communities need you.
The lessons of 9/11 have taught us that not one jurisdiction can respond alone. So this effort, the planning, training, and exercising that we will be doing, brings together everyone so that we can respond together, so that we have a system of systems, that the Alexandria system and the Arlington system and Fairfax system and on are able to work together. To do that, we have started off with our planning effort, and then we're going to go through our training, which is always follows your planning so that you train on the plan. And then you exercise the plan so that you know that the plan is good. Following that, we then start planning again using those lessons learned from that exercise. The very essence of successful emergency management is coordination of all of our responders when we respond to any type of disaster. This regional response system is designed to do exactly that, coordinate all of our responses across our very important region in Northern Virginia.
Chief Dave Rohr, the Chief of Police of Fairfax County, and I represent the Northern Virginia law enforcement community, all the police chiefs and sheriffs in Northern Virginia, in a regional emergency preparedness collaboration. And as part of this effort, we've identified a rather unique role for law enforcement in advanced detection duties that we have elected to assume.
So you carrying any radioactive material in the truck at all?
Not at all.
Not at all. What are you carrying?
And as part of identifying this gap, we've acquired a number of handheld radiological detection devices. And we've been able to deploy those devices at the street level and also in the courthouses in an attempt to detect and be able to respond in a baseline capability that did not exist prior to this project. And it's through this cross-disciplinary collaboration that's occurred over the past 2 years that's allowed us to improve and have greater confidence in our own capabilities, as well as to be a part of the greater picture of working with others in times of emergency so that we can each function to the best of our abilities.
We've developed an enhanced capability through medical support units and medical ambulance buses that allows us to get the supplies to the scene for medical treatment and also to have a enhanced transport capability. The medical ambulance buses are capable of transporting 21 patients at a time. This is a huge benefit from ambulances that will transport 1, 2, possibly 3 patients at a time. We can shift drivers from multiple ambulances towards patient care and focus on getting large numbers of patients from that choke point of the triage treatment area to transport through this capability. Second area where we've made major advances in Northern Virginia relates to the immediate field detection of hazardous materials and weapons of mass destruction. Just within the past year, we have made significant strides in enhancing the technology capabilities that we have to detect and monitor chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive devices. The resource capabilities that we have enhanced in the Northern Virginia area, much of which just within this past year, are resources that we're not going to use very frequently, but when they're needed, it's absolutely essential for us to have them for the effective mitigation of the types of emergencies that we know that we're going to be called on sooner or later. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
In the event of a chemical attack, a biological attack, or even a naturally occurring outbreak of disease, it's critical that we have supplies available locally to get both to the citizens and to our first responders as quickly as possible. Having a local cache of these medicines is one way that we could do that. And additionally, having all jurisdictions providing at the same level of service allows other people who are providing assistance from other jurisdictions to know that they're going to be coming in with the same medications available and the same biologics available to keep both the citizens safe and our first responders safe. In order to achieve this goal of providing the most medicine as quickly as possible in an emergency, the plan that we've devised is for the chemical antidotes to be on those ambulances, to be with the EMS people when they arrive at an event. And we continue to pursue that goal for the safety both of the first responders and for the citizens. The medications, the antibiotics, doxycycline and ciprofloxacin, will be housed in public health departments in the localities, and they too will be available to be released right at the time of the event. No outside approval is required for a locality to use these medicines to protect its citizenry. In an emergency, the quicker we can get medications both to the citizens that are impacted and our first responders, the better for them, the more likely that they'll get through this without any problems. And that's the purpose and the goal of this program.
The reason why it's important for hospitals to be involved with EMS providers and all the other first responders in Northern Virginia is ultimately patients are going to be coming to our facilities, and that is the reason why it's important that we be part of the continuum of care. Since 9/11, we focused on numerous gaps in terms of hospitals' ability to respond to disasters. Fortunately, one of the major gaps has now been closed, and that was the lack of ventilators. Some of these ventilators have already been delivered to the various hospitals in Northern Virginia so that personnel can become familiar with them and have appropriate training. A large percentage of these ventilators, although, are stockpiled in a central location such that when an event occurs, they can be delivered to the appropriate facility in a matter of minutes as opposed to days. After 9/11, we had many gaps, but thanks to the partnerships with our first responders, we have closed a major gap with the addition of these ventilators.
Our purpose is to make your job as a line firefighter, police officer, or public health technician, hospital nurse, whatever role you play in the emergency response system, we want you to be more effective. We also want you to be safer and to have some confidence that the system is working in your interest and that of your family. We came together during 9/11, we came together during Hurricane Isabel, we even came together to go help communities outside our own region who were devastated by disasters, and we will most surely come together again to protect our own region in the future. The purpose of building a more effective response system is to serve our communities, our larger jurisdictions, and the region better than we've ever been able to do before.
By working together, we are better organized, better coordinated, and better equipped to face the challenges of our ever-changing world. By working together, our first response will be our best. Northern Virginia, better prepared together.